If you're looking to build a high-performing team or you're looking to build one, then these 12 hacks are going to change the game for you. My name is Thomas Parkinson, and I've run 2 7-figure e-com businesses plus 1 6-figure service company, and currently have over 40 virtual staff, and I've been managing staff for over 20 years. Over my time, I've learned a lot of things about managing people, and especially in the remote space now, where I've been running for over 6 years, and I want to share that with you today about building high-performing teams. Now, the first one I'm going to say about building a high-performing team is hiring the right people. Look for those candidates with the necessary skills, experience, and strong culture fit that are going to work for your business. Now, within Fast Track FBA, we've hired over 600 virtual assistants, and that's for our clients. Within Fast Track FBA and myself, I've actually probably interviewed and managed over 1,000 people the whole of my life, and this is why we created the VA Academy to support Amazon businesses with virtual assistants. Every single hire that you make should raise the bar, raise the average of the skill set within your business, and too many times I've seen it, and even myself, I've done it, whereby we say we just need someone to do this simple job, we'll hire them, and what we're doing is lowering the bar. So on a high performing team, hire better every single time. Now, the second hack I'll kind of share for you or think about is communication and setting expectations. Now, this is so important to do this from day one with Filipinos, is trying to get over that yes sir, no sir, whatever you say sir. I could talk about this, but I want to share a clip from an interview I did with someone who's actually built many 7-figure companies and actually sold them, a guy called Nathan Hurst, Econ Balance founder, and I'll share this snippet with you, which I think you'll really like.
A lot of the hiring happens. How do you get over the yes sir, no sir? Because it sounds like you have a great culture, you have a great environment, you have empowered people who are making decisions and doing stuff, not I need to be told what to do, I am a robot. Like, I'm not saying that they are like that, but that's probably a perception. And how have you overcome that? What tips can you advise?
Yeah, you got to break that early on. It's very tough to do it, like when someone's been working with you for 3 months, and you really depend on the seniors to do it. That was a great thing with Chiggy Ann with Free Up. The first thing she would do with anyone added to our turtle team was break that. Have a few meetings about it, explain to them it's unacceptable, we don't put up with it. If you do not be that yes man, do not be that robot. We want thinkers, we want problem solvers, we want someone who's coming to the table with ideas every single week, and we'll hold people to it. We'll call it out very quickly if it happens, and we won't work with people that have that mentality or that can't get over that very quickly. But you're right, that's definitely one of the most common things, and not only is it common in the Philippines, I think entrepreneurs really struggle with it, and they let that go down really big rabbit holes. And if anyone listening joins Free Up, so we do the interview, but then before we hire them, we go through expectations with them, and that's everything from the yes thing, but other things like what happens when you have a power outage or a family issue or whatever it is, and kind of nip all those things in the butt. And scare isn't the right word, but it kind of is. Like, you want to make sure they know exactly what they're getting into, because you would rather have them back out because they're like, hey, this isn't what I'm looking for, this job's not for me, I can't handle that stress, I'm not a thinker, whatever it is, than to spend 2 months training them only to figure that out later.
Yeah, I agree. And a question, final one on this topic. You said called it out. What does that mean?
That means like a quick one-on-one to address it right away. So if someone, like we had it today, we had someone who didn't follow a workflow that we had in ClickUp, and it's okay. Like, she's a great bookkeeper, and it's probably an honest mistake, but we're not letting 2 weeks go by. We're meeting with her this morning to figure out why that happened and make it very clear, both from our controller and her senior bookkeeper, that cannot happen again, and that's not how we work. So those things need to be addressed very, very quickly. You can't let it just go on and on and on. Then it becomes very tough to change.
Probably one of the most common things we do as entrepreneurs. We're like, oh, it's okay, we'll let them do it. Like, no. You nip this in the bud. You call it out straight away. Like, you don't wait 2 weeks because it's just going to build a habit and carry on. So yeah, thank you so much. But that's sort of like Free Up and processes. You sold that obviously for multiple 7 figures, and obviously well done, inspirational, absolutely love it. And obviously came from the book selling Amazon game. Absolutely love it as well.
Now, the third hack that I'll share for you will be setting clear goals and expectations and targets for your team member. Now, within my business, we use something called the quarter tracker. This is basically every single person has a number. They are accountable, and they'll have between 5 and 15 numbers that they are solely responsible for, and they have to check in with them every single week with their line manager. They know that they have to share, explain, and talk about what happened and what they're going to be doing going forward. And having this quarter tracker really helps us clearly define what they need to be focusing on, the numbers they need to change in our business every single week. Now, the fourth hack that I'll share within this section is really about have a clear onboarding and training plan. Now, we follow what's known as the 90-day 90-day plan within my company. It teaches the team member who you're bringing on board everything they need to know to achieve their KPIs within that quarter tracker. They're going to have a very clear expectation of what needs to be achieved at the end of the 90 days. They'll also understand what they're going to be held accountable for within the quarter tracker, and then start at the beginning, working our way forward to actually define here's where you're going to get and here's all the training. Getting this right is a lot of work, and if you are thinking about hiring, getting a job description or contract is going to be one of the most important things, and getting them right. That's why we've put together our own job description contract that you can download below, which is going to help you out. The fifth hack that I'm going to talk about for you is around processes.
Processes are probably the foundational part of building a successful and scalable business.
If you just want to keep a small team of 5 people, I'd still even say actually having processes is really important, because this gives your team the confidence that they understand exactly what needs to happen and when. It basically details the exact step-by-step process that they need to do to achieve the outcomes that need to happen. We review these processes when things go wrong, but also as well, what we do get is the team members to actually write the process themselves, not the managers. And remember, a process is simply a documented way of getting things done, which is continuously improved.
Within my business, we have a deal review process, which I think we're on like version 30 right now.
Every single time we have a bad deal that's gone wrong, we'll analyze that and we'll look at it, and then we'll come back to our deal review process
And say, is there anything we can improve that's going to help them out?
Documenting our processes can really help you out. Number 1, setting them up for success, and number 2, improving your systems within the company to improve. That's what we do within our teams. The second section I want to move on to is teams and culture. Making them work together within the wider company is so important. I want to share some hacks with you right now. The first one I'll talk about is positive team culture. We do this within 2 ways within our company. Number 1, within every single weekly meeting, we get the team members to share good news. The second one we've done is we've also created a Google form, but then that automatically posts to Slack. Every team member can access it, and managers, and what we'll get them to do is to share their good news within that form, and that allows everyone in the company to hear about the good news which is happening in different areas. And it's also a documented record of the good news, which I absolutely love. Now, the second area I'll talk about is communicating a vision of a shared direction. You as founders have got a vision of where you want to go, and sharing that is so important because it keeps you all on the right track. And while it might not specifically tell you every single thing that's right or wrong, you can generally help alleviate a lot of problems or questions, because you're going to ask yourself, does this align with our vision? Does this align with where we're going? And you as a founder need to share that vision all the time. So for example, within my business, every month on the first Thursday at pretty much 6 a.m. my time, I'm going to host what's known as an all hands team meeting for everyone within my company. We cover our vision, our mission, our values. We talk about what's achieved, where we're going. And throughout this, we're also going to give feedback and recognize the team and share about that. The third thing I'll talk about is fostering teamwork and collaboration. Within my company, we've got, I think at our peak, we were at 88 staff across 3 companies, and we got them to work together. Now, what we did is we tried to really promote team building, and we organized team building activities and projects that promoted collaboration and strengthened those team bonds. What we wanted to do is to really support people not to have to go to their manager and the manager talks to another manager and comes down. It's the team members speak for themselves. Now, what we did is we encouraged them to support and assist each other in achieving common goals, which is so important. But also as well, maybe like working on new processes, maybe finding out new sourcing methods, or finding prep centered suppliers, speaking to marketing and the Amazon sources about a new sourcing technique. All these things are really, really important. But also as well, we tried to make sure that the people could talk to one another and get line managers out of the way. Now, Google does this really well, and if you want to research more, it's called cross-functional teams. We did quite a lot of research into it and really try to promote how Google did it within our company, so that our company could also do it itself within our own company. Now, the next section I'll talk about is investing in your people and developing them. Now, there's an old saying which I absolutely love. A CFO says, what happens if we invest in development of our people and then they leave us? To which the CEO replies, what happens if we don't and they stay? I'm a big believer in developing people, and within our business, we are investing all the time within our people wherever we can to help drive the business forward and develop them. Now, we're going to be looking at things like external courses and even internal training. Now, within my own Amazon business, I've actually paid for training courses, and I've run my own team through it. We've also paid for people to come in and train the team. And also, in addition to that, we've tried things like 12-week leadership training. Our sources have got better, our leaders have got better, and it takes the pressure off me. And we're just developing our people to become better individuals, which is ultimately improving the system, improving the business overall.
Now, the next area I'll talk about for you really is about be the leader your business needs to be.
And the one thing I always see a lot with business owners is maybe they're too nice, maybe they're too soft and let people getting away with all the issues. Instead, the way I like to think about it is do what needs to be done to move the business towards its vision. Now, that will be sometimes doing things that people don't want you to do, making decisions. For example, with us, things like time tracking we had to introduce and actually had a really positive impact, but initially it was very resisted because people didn't like it, but we had evolved a lot of positives since then. But having to push through that because we understand it was towards our vision. Now, as a leader, the one thing I'd always say, show up early, hold others to account, really focus on being the role model within your business. Now, I've heard it in a book that I'm reading right now, The Road Less Stupid, which I absolutely love and I recommend reading it. But there's a really good quote: show me a disinterested employee and I'll show you a lousy culture, a weak leader, poor customer experience. Think about that. If you've got a problem with a team member, have a look at yourself first and say, can you be doing better? And I think that's so important. I'd also recommend lead by example. Model the behaviors that you're right, the attitudes that you want to see within your teams. Demonstrate a strong work ethic, dedication, and positive attitude, and even like attention to detail. If you want that from your team, you've got to be holding up yourself that higher standard. Even within our business, we're so proactive and understanding, addressing conflicts proactively. Conflicts are just a natural part of any team dynamic. Addressing them promptly and constructively is going to encourage open discussion and people resolving in a healthy manner. For example, sources getting angry with one another, stealing deals, maybe something's not working, or maybe people just having a personal issue. Got to get into there and really support those issues and get them resolved proactively. I'm talking right now about building high-performing teams because we have hired so many staff, over 600 virtual assistants for over 300 of our clients within the Fast Track FBA Academy, because they understand that building a high-performing team is not easy, and hiring the right people is probably one of the hardest parts. It doesn't matter how great your culture is, how much training and development you do. If you start with a bad egg, you just cannot change that. So that's why we developed the VA Academy. If you are interested in learning more about hiring a virtual assistant for your business, what I will do is I'm going to drop a link down below called How to Grow Your Business by $10,000 per month. You can check that out and it's going to give you all the numbers, how you can do it all, how a VA can help you do that within your Amazon business. So have a look at the link down below and I think you'll love it. Now, the next kind of area that I'll talk about with you is checking in and tracking your progress. Having a great team, having a great culture is amazing. Having a vision is great, but we need to track the progress towards that vision, and that's about on the journey to where we're going. Now, we do this in two ways, which have really helped us. First things first, we use what's known as quarterly performance management sit downs with our team members. This is basically every 3 months we sit down with 1 hour with each of our team members as a line manager, and we discuss their personal goals, their professional goals. We discuss 3 to 5 targets for the last quarter that they should have achieved, and they're basically closely aligned with their quarter tracker or personal development objectives. And we're going to ask them to rate the results, and we'll rate the results and give them feedback. We'll then go ahead and set them objectives going forward. This has been really beneficial for time just to sit down on a one-to-one basis, 4 times a year, to really see where the team member is going, see where they want to go on a personal level, and then challenge them to go forward. And it's changed the game and really helped us out. For example, within my own business, I've seen team members who maybe have been a bit sloppy. We sat down in that meeting and say, your goal is to not have any issues that I'm flagging on personal or on private chats. And by the end of the next quarter, all of those issues have been resolved, and I'm congratulating them on doing a really good job. These are things kind of outside of management meetings, but they are part of developing people towards the vision of the company and on a personal level. The second part of this I'll talk about is called our quality of life survey. This is a survey that we run with all our staff, and we run it 2 times a year, generally in January and in December, and before any bonus payments, because we don't want to influence it like everyone's happy. But we basically run what's known as the Gallup Employee Engagement Survey, and this basically asks 12 questions. We do it on a Google form, really simple. The aim behind this is to understand how our team members feel about working within the business. And it will ask questions like, how satisfied are you with the company as a place to work? Do I know what's expected of me? Do I have the materials and equipment to do the work right? At work, I have the opportunity to do my best every day. In the last 7 days, I've received recognition and praise, and so on and so on. Now, these questions are based off research from an American company called Gallup, who have done this so many times. And we use that same framework, that same model, to basically just audit our own company and see where we are. We're looking for, has the company gone up? Has it gone down? Has certain departments gone up and gone down? Has certain managers gone up and gone down? Are certain employees maybe struggling and we want to jump in and support them? But these 12 questions really help us out. And if you want to learn more about what the 12 questions mean, do read a book called First Break All the Rules. It really explains everything, and I've read that and I absolutely love it. But this survey that we do twice a year, it just helps us understand team needs, helps them achieve higher performance, and using that survey really improves profitability, productivity, retention, sales, and so much more. That's the kind of audit section, helps us to understand how we're doing on that high performing team. There are my 12 hacks that can really help you out. We're looking at everything from hiring the right people to building the right culture to auditing and actually checking in with our team members and the business overall and understanding. Now, if you like that, give me the big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, do hit the subscribe button down below. But for myself, Thomas Parkinson and Fast Track FBA, thank you very much.